Okay, it should be recording. My audio should sound good. I hope so. All right, so let's get into it. So I really rely on colors to help me learn better, and that's what I'm gonna do for when I explain it because I get lost pretty easily if I don't use the colors. Okay, so let's first off start off with the combustion part of this. So let's go back and remember from the early PTEC days about the fire triangle. So the fire triangle says that we need oxygen, combustion, or heat as fuel. Well, actually, it's heat to have fire. So put that right there. Uh, it creates fire. That's what we need for fire, and that fire takes place in something called the firebox. So the firebox is here. So, but you're like, okay, well, we have heat, oxygen, and fuel. So fuel is coming from tank 402, TK 402, and that is going to the firebox. Put that over right there. And we have oxygen, fire, and we have oxygen coming from fan 402, oops, fan 402A. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm having very shaky hands, so I need to put that, okay, that's coming from there. So we also have oxygen. So heat is coming from the combustion within the firebox, and that happens when the ignition source inside of the firebox lights off, and then the combustion within there has continue to go. But you're like, okay, well, there's fire, so there's smoke. Where does the combustion gas go? Well, that travels. I could just do this real quick. That travels over here into the stack, and the stack is right here. Okay, so now I'm going to erase that. So the stack. So that is measured, and let's get these out of the way. That is measured. Well, you measure how much oxygen there is. So that goes to the analyzer of how much oxygen there is, and there's an alarm connected to it. If there's low oxygen, which is 0 to 10%, the alarm will go off. But that communicates. There's also a pressure indicator. So within this boiler, there's an immense amount of pressure, and you have to maintain that pressure. And the way you maintain that is by releasing the combusted gas. So that this pressure element talks to the transmitter and tells them, hey, this is the pressure that's inside of it. And that transmitter talks to the pressure indicating controller, which then allows or denies how much of that smoke goes out. And the suction of that smoke is caused by fan 402B. Okay. And it uses a pneumatic butterfly valve. So that's that for the firebox and what's causing all the heat. So let me just mark off these things real quick, just so I know I covered them. Okay, and it has a temperature of 500 degrees inside. But let's start talking about the water that's coming in. So the water starts from the left-hand side, LIC by LIC, and this goes through the deaerator. Give me 1 second. I just want to get this done real quick just so it's easier to talk to about it. Okay, right there. So we're just going to follow that. We're going to stop right there. Okay, so liquid treated water comes in here and it passes through level control valve. This is, sorry. Glow valve passes through this glow valve. Let me make that easier for you to see. We're going to do red. Actually, we already used red. We are going to use blue. Passes through this glow valve, which then goes into the deaerator. And the purpose of the deaerator is to remove entrained oxygen. So we're going to remove that. So as we're going down the line, pass another glow valve. And you know what? Let's just mark off all the glow valves. We'll do that. Salmon. Salmon color. So this was an, oh, you can't see that. I can't even see that. So we'll do this green. Very bright green. So this goes through. So let's just mark off all the glow valves real quick. Glow valve here, a glow valve there, a glow valve here, a glow valve there, glow valve here. Okay, now let me mark off the pneumatic glow valves. Here, right there, right here, right here. And then these were pneumatic butterfly valves. Let's use brown for those. Okay, right here and right here. Okay, that should be pretty good. Okay, and let me go back to, I guess the red, but it's very easy to see. So flow is going down this way, passes this valve, goes into this horizontal centrifugal pump, and then it goes up this way, passes pneumatic valve, and then we can continue the flow. So let me get rid of that real quick. We can continue the flow. It goes into here. So let's stop here 1 second and let me highlight the area. Let me see if cream works. Cream does not work. Gray. We could do gray. So within here, it is called the economizer. And the purpose of the economizer is to preheat this water. It's going into here. The purpose of that is to preheat the water. And what's heating the water is actually the combusted gas in here. So that combusted gas heats the water. So let me get rid of these arrows. And then that preheated water now goes up, goes to this check valve. For the purpose of the check valve, what should the check valve color be? You know, I feel like I've spent more time figuring out the colors than actually talking. So I'm sorry, but this makes it a lot easier. So the purpose of the check valve, it's to ensure that flow goes only in one direction. Because if it were to flow backwards, that's a big no-no. Because if it were to flow backwards, that means that all of this is going to go back down to the pump. And if that were to happen, that would damage this pump very, very badly. Okay, so that pump then goes to something called the steam generating pump. And this one we're going to make this one orange. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. So these pipes continue to go down, and then this pipe is a special pipe. This pipe is called a downriser. I'm sorry, not a downriser. A downcomer. Let me label that once for really quickly. I'm gonna make sure right here. This is a downcomer, and that goes into something called the mud drum. Okay, that could do better than that. I could give you guys better experience. Okay, and that the mud drum is connected to these pipes, and these pipes are also special pipes. They have a special name for them. These pipes are called risers. Sorry, I'm scratching my head. It's called risers. Oops. And I feel like the name is derived from where the liquid is actually going. I'm gonna have to zoom out 1 second. Where it's actually going. So the risers, the liquid is going up, and the downcomer, the liquid is going down. So from what I've gathered, why they're named that. Okay, so now let's focus on the steam generating drum and the mud drum. So as you can see, these lines right here, do not get these confused with these lines, which is what I initially thought, because they look just like it. And I was like, what the heck is this? Well, the mud drum is supposed to be completely filled, all right, and the steam generating drum isn't. The steam generating drum is about 75% full of liquid. So the mud drum is the liquid in here is getting heated, right? So let's so you because you can't really see what I'm pointing at. This, excuse me, this riser, because if you could really see, it travels throughout the whole boiler, and because of that, it has the hottest liquid in here. Okay, because it's traveling around the firebox. You can't see my pen. It's traveling around the firebox. Okay, and that is way longer than this pipe. This pipe is about half the distance, and it is only being directly exposed to one side of the pipe. This pipe is being exposed 1, 2, 3 times. This one is being exposed only once. So let me erase that. Oops. Let me erase these. Okay. And so this one is going to be hotter, and this one's going to be way cooler. It's away from the burner, from the firebox, and it's still inside, so it's still going to get hot. But once you're inside of here, this is where the liquid is coming in, right? And this is being heated by all this heat that's coming out of there, and the risers that are being heated as well. Okay, so that stays about 75% liquid. And then this part, let's make this a little, I'll make this a little bit darker. This is now steam up here. Okay, so this, then let's use the color green, because that is what we are wanting. We are wanting steam. So if it's successful, oh, it's the color green. Hope that makes sense, I guess. If not, it's all right. It's not that important. So that travels all the way over here. Okay, so now let's talk about the superheated steam. So great, we have superheated steam now. And the purpose of why it's going, it leaves the steam generating drum, and it goes up to the top. You can't see my pen. It goes out to the top, but then it re-enters the boiler to get heated up again. But as it's leaving, there has two directions, right? So if we continue to go up, it's now measuring. Let's put this. What do we do to the other colors? Open orange. Okay, we can do that. This is being measured at 350 degrees. And a PSI, actually, let me do this. PSI of 150. Okay, and well, actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. Yeah. No, that's the alarm. Yeah. So it's high, it's too much pressure. Low is 100 psi, and it's supposed to be reading 120 psig, and that is seen from here, from this area. It's reading 120 psig. Okay, very, very high. Okay, so going back to the superheated steam, its alternative route. Yeah, we could do that. We could leave that purple, I guess. Uh, Goes here. Okay, well, what's the purpose of that? Well, not all other systems, all other units use superheated steam, right? So this one is going to heat exchanger 205. Okay, so the purpose of of having superheated steam is for the systems that don't use it. That travels over here. Okay, so now what this does is that it's going back into the steam generating drum. Okay, make sure I draw those flows, those arrows. So that's going back in to cool it down through the liquid, right? Because this one goes straight up and it doesn't, it gets heated again and it doesn't see liquid, okay? The cooling action is the liquid, okay? And that travels up and now it visits a pressure alarm system, a pressure indicator, and a temperature element, okay? This is now reading 60 psig. So from 120 psig all the way to 60, cuts it in half, okay? And these pressure alarm systems, what was that, yellow? Isn't that yellow? I was like this color. There we go. It will go off if it reads 75 psig, and the alarm will go off if it reads 50 psig, okay? When it's low, when it's high, okay? Pressure indicator, it's showing reading 60 psig, and the temperature of this is now 305 degrees, okay? That is pretty, pretty different than 350 degrees, okay? All right, and then as it's going up, we're making sure the temperature recorder, and it's lining up with temperature element at the top, okay? Where else could I talk about? Okay, let me go back to the combustion inside the burner. So I think I already talked about the oxygen. Yeah, I did already talk about the oxygen. Okay, well if there's too low oxygen, the fan will kick in on the right side over here. The fan will kick in. Oops, sorry, those were my practice recording. Um, Other fans go, oh yeah, so let's say if there's too low oxygen, this fan will kick up. All right. Uh, Flow indicator controller will open up the butterfly valve again. I'm pretty sure I already covered that, so okay. It also works with FIC for the burner. So that if there's too little flame, it's not because it's hot, it's gonna put in more gas, right? So that's the purpose of that. So that's that control loop. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've covered that. Okay, and I think the questions will cover the other control loops. Okay, so LVC 401 fail closed. So LVC, and you know what? I'll make this, that's a little too light. Okay, here we go. That's a good color. So LVC 401 is located right here. And it's saying, okay, if that fails closed, meaning that it closed, so now there's no flow. PI 402. The PI 402 is right here. Right here, the pressure indicator. So that, because there's no flow coming from here right? That's cut off. So that will read lower because there's no flow, so there's no pressure to read, right? So now the FIC, I'll get back to FIC in a minute. Let's go to LIC first. So LIC 402 is located here, and this measures the level within the steam generating drum. So if that goes down, well, first and foremost, LIC is the master, and FIC is the slave controller, okay? So if this is reading low, which it will because there's no flow going on here. I forget you guys can't see my pen. There's no flow going on, right? We remove that. So the level controller is going to read low. So that's going to go down. But because it's reading low, it's going to say, hey, we need more flow. Well, that's going to talk to the slave controller, FIC 402C, which is the next question, right? The process variable for it, the PV. It's going to say, hey, so it's supposed to be 50%, sorry, not 75%, 50%. And yeah, 402C process variable, sorry. It's going to say, hey, we need more flow. There's not enough level, right? Our alarm is about to go off. LAL 402 is saying, hey, 35%, we need more. So it's going to talk to the flow indicating controller saying, hey, let's open up that valve. So the FIC is actually going to open up and, well, yeah, it's just going to open up more, which is what it's doing. So that's going to go up. Oh, sorry, I circled the wrong one. LVC, the pressure indicating controller is going to go down. Okay. And FIC 402C, that one's going to open up more. But the flow is actually, it's nothing there, right? Because there's no flow. I think I understood that question correctly, right? But moving on to the next one. So steam tube ruptures. Okay, now let's put this hot pink because that's very easy to see. So the steam tube ruptures. So the steam tube, I was under the assumption, because I don't think it's talking about this steam, the low pressure steam going into the deaerator. I don't think it's talking about that one. I think it's talking, and it makes more sense why I would be talking about this steam tube. Okay, if it were to rupture here, okay, well we're gonna say it's rupturing here. Okay, and I'll put a little black spot just so it's very easy to see. Okay, so LIC 402 is located. Let me find it real quick. Oh, back at over here, LIC 402. Sorry, LIC 402. It's a process variable. Okay. Well, if that's steam, well, because it's steam, right, and this is measuring the level in it, the level of the liquid, that's going to remain the same. Okay, because this is talking about the steam rupture. So it's already getting super hot. It's going through the process getting super hot. Okay, we have superheated steam. It's still going off, but it's escaping right here. Oops, you can't see that. It's escaping right here. Okay, so that's actually going to remain the same because it's still being fed liquid. Let me put that back to pink. It's still being fed liquid, right? This is also being fed, and this is all continuing to get super hot, and it's continuing to create steam. Okay, the fire's still going. Let me back up here. Okay, so that's actually going to remain the same. The level is going to remain the same. But the pressure, 402 PV, where's 402? 402. Oh, going back to this question here, I forgot to mention that this is in cascade, okay? And these are in automatic. But this automatic one will adjust the cascade one. Okay, that's why we want, that's what's going to be selling more flow. All right, but I'm sorry, going back to PIC 402 PV, PIC. Here's PIC 402A. I think it's talking about that one. And then it's talking about the process variable here. But let me double check. Yeah, I think it's talking about that one because I don't see another PIC. And I think that's the one that I was practicing earlier. So we're gonna say it's talking about this one. So that PIC 402E, the process variable is right now it's reading when it's, normal operating conditions is 120 psig, but this is not operating normal operating conditions because this tube exploded, it ruptured. So, which means all that steam's coming out here, like I said earlier. So nothing is going to get read over here because that has escaped already. Okay, so it's not going to read anything. So this is going to go down. Okay, now the temperature element right here. I saw this right here. Temperature element, because it's, again, like I said earlier, this is also going to go down because it has nothing to read. And I think I covered most of it. I'm pretty sure I covered this. Centrifugal pump. Now the stack, reading the pressure recorder, the pressure indicator, the temperature indicator. Temperature of the smoke is 450 degrees. And I think that's about it. Okay. Oh, real quick. This is control loop over here. Control loop 1. This is measuring the level in the deaerator. There's a recorder there. Level element, level transmitter, which talks to the controller, saying, "Hey, if it's below 50% in the deaerator, it's going to be like, hey, we need some more water." So it's going to open up more. It's going to go open up. Or if it's too high, it's saying, hey, a little too much. Okay, I'm starting to drown over here. So it's going to start to go down. And that is, I think that's about it. I think I covered everything. I think that's about it. Oh, tube boiler. So this is a water tube boiler. A little extra information. And I think that's it. Okay. All right. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, if I didn't cover something, I'm pretty sure I did though. If I didn't cover something, please feel free to ask me if there's any questions at the end. Well, all right. Thank you.